Are you ready to turn heads? Luxury isn't just worn, it's experienced. Introducing a Layla Cara style and new up-and-coming designer collection where exclusive shoes and bags for men and women meets your feet. How about you take a handbag and wear it in style, where each piece is personally designed by Layla Carroll herself and handcrafted from the finest material in Italy. Leather, smooth like butter, bold, timeless, distinctly you. Step into true elegance and make your mark with a Layla Cara style where confidence meets craftsmanship. Visit a Layla Cara style and experience the luxury of art that you wear. Hey everybody, so welcome to Season 7. Season 7, as you know, is going to be about relationships. So today's episode is going to be about healthy and unhealthy relationships, how to recognize which one that you are in. I want to talk about 7 signs that you are in a healthy relationship, and then I want to also talk about 7 signs that you are in an unhealthy relationship. Now, when I discuss relationships throughout this season, I'm going to mainly be talking about relationships with your lover, okay? But every now and then I'm going to talk about relationship with relatives as well as co-workers and colleagues, partners, and I'm talking about business partners and so forth. Now, today's topic is going to be about lovers. So I definitely want to touch base on that because that is how we populate the earth, with lovers' relationships. And if we're going to be bringing forth children into the world, we need to make sure our children are healthy enough to be able to go on to do the same, but not to be putting out bad seeds into the world. I don't believe that any baby is a bad seed, but what I'm talking about here is that when a child is born, they come into the world pretty much with nothing. They don't know anything about the world that they had just entered into. What they do know is whatever it is that you're teaching them and what they learn along the way. So that's what I'm talking about. A bad seed. I'm talking about you're teaching them bad habits and they're learning these bad habits and they're taking these bad habits with them into their own lives and producing children and doing the same and so forth. So for this year, 2025, I want to give you some insight on recognizing what type of relationship that you're in and how to either correct some of the behaviors that you yourself might be doing, because you can't correct someone else's behavior. You only can correct yourself. So I will talk a lot about yourself, how to recognize what's going on inside of you, because I'm a firm believer that no one can do things to you that you don't allow them to do to you. Yes, things do happen and you did not ask for it to happen. But what I'm talking about is that if you're in a relationship with someone and they keep mistreating you, and the key word in that statement is keep. They keep mistreating you. The only way they can keep mistreating you is that you are allowing them to continue to do it. So this is why I am going to be addressing you, not the other person. So let's go ahead and get right into it. First off, let's talk about the 7 signs of a healthy relationship. How to recognize that you are in a healthy relationship. So I could go on and talk about way more than 7, but to remember, I don't want to give you too much to go by. I want to give you just enough to be able to remember at least 3 to 4 of these 7 that I'm going to give you. So the first sign to recognize that you are in a healthy relationship is that you have open and honest communication, okay? So you both feel comfortable expressing your thoughts, feelings, and concerns without fear of judgment and retaliation. So let's talk a little bit about that. If you find yourself in a relationship with someone and you have something you want to share with them, and you're like, I want to tell my boyfriend or my husband or my girlfriend or my wife or whatever, I want to tell them exactly what's going on in my life, how I feel like doing whatever I want to do or don't want to do. And you can have this conversation with them comfortable. You're not afraid, you're not timid, you're not worried, you're literally relaxed, and you're just having a conversation like you would have with your best friend. Well, that is a good sign that your relationship is healthy. Also, let's go to number 2. So number 2 is mutual respect. Mutual respect, you value each other's opinions, boundaries, and individuality, and treat each other with kindness and consideration. So, as you can tell, in order to have a open and honest communication, there must be mutual respect involved. If there's no mutual respect, you don't respect your partner don't respect you, y'all talk to each other crazy or whatever, that is not good. But if you notice in your relationship that you can have your opinion about whatever you choose to have an opinion about, because everyone is entitled to their own opinion. Now, doesn't mean that it's a fact, doesn't mean that it's completely true, and it doesn't mean that it's set in stone. It just means this is the way you view it. That's just your opinion. And the person that you're with understands that and respect that, then that is a good sign that you are in a healthy relationship. You do not undermine the other person's opinion about whatever it is that they have their opinions on. Always remember that you are 2 individuals. You will never, ever, ever be 100% in agreement with each other. It's just not going to happen. 100% all the time? Come on now. It's not going to happen. I'm just going to let you know that. So just understand that what your opinion is yours. It belongs to you. You cannot force the other person to feel the way you do or think the way you do. You just have to be able to explain it in a way that they can try to understand. Okay? And of course, be kind to each other. You cannot be all mad at each other because this person don't value your opinion in the way that you do. Valuing opinion is not important as a fact. A fact is something that really, truly, truly is what it is, and it cannot be changed. Opinions can be changed. One person can like what you like, the other one don't. It's just what it is, okay? And you have to be very considerate to one another. Now, number 3 is trust and honesty. This is a big one, you guys, because this is where a lot of relationships fall off. You go into your relationship, and some people go into a relationship not even trusting the person that they're with from the beginning. That person have to work at gaining the trust. That is already a relationship that is doomed from the beginning. You need to know that you give the person grace. You have to give them amount of grace and allow that person to be human to where they can try to stay in the boundaries that you have. So let's talk about trust and let's talk about honesty. There's a foundation of trust where both partners are honest and reliable, fostering emotional safety. So if a person can't feel safe with sharing with you, thinking that you are going to take the information and use it against them in a future argument, then that is no trust there. And also, you're not an honest person. Now, let's say vice versa. If you're with a partner that you cannot share your personal feelings with, you can't tell them how you really feel because you are afraid that they're going to take the information and use it in a negative way, or they're just going to write you off like it doesn't matter, then that's not good. So if you are in a relationship where you can share your personal information with the person, you feel like this person is safe. You're safe with this person. Well, that is a good sign that you're in a healthy relationship. So let's go on. Number 4. Number 4 is emotional support. This is a big deal, you guys. Emotional support, this is where we go to our best friend. We go to our friends for emotional support. This is why we have what we call best friends, because our best friends are able to give us the emotional support that most people cannot, such as your parents, your siblings, your relatives, as well as your spouse. But your spouse is supposed to be able to do this for you. Your spouse is supposed to be able to give you emotional support. Now, emotional support is you uplift each other during challenges and celebrate each other a success. So basically, when you're having some type of challenge.
We'll be back after a quick break.
If you haven't already, check out my luxury shoe and bag collection, a Layla Cara style. Each piece is personally designed by me and handcrafted from genuine Italian leather. Whether you're dressing up or keeping it casual, these pieces were made to help you walk with confidence. Because real style starts from how you feel. Go to alaylacarolstyle.com and experience these bold, timeless, and completely all you. Check it out. You might find something you like. And you're dealing with something that's difficult, well, your partner, your boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about lovers. You should be able to get that support from them emotionally to help push you to your greatness and help you to bring out what is already inside of you that only can come out when you get the courage to let it out. And that's usually where your partner come in at, where they can say, you can do this. I believe in you. I trust you. I know you can do this. I've seen you do other things before. Now I know that you can do this. Now, let's say the other hand, let's flip the script, and let's say that you have achieved, because I've been through this before. I've been through this with exes, not my husband now, but my ex. I've been through this where I've achieved and accomplished something, and my ex did not celebrate the way I was expecting. So basically, what I'm saying is that I don't feel the emotional support that you're genuinely happy that I accomplished this. And because of that, it makes it hard for me to want to continue to share things with you. So I can give an example. I like to give examples because it makes me relatable, and also I'm transparent. I'm very open about things. So I have no problem with sharing things. So my ex, God rest his soul, I wrote something, and I was thinking about writing a particular book. And it wasn't really a book per se. I was in school during the time, and I was taking creative writing in English, and I had to write a story. Well, I drew the story from a book that I was already thinking about writing, and when I chose, and it actually was supposed to be a sequel to my very first book, The Entertainment of Eroticism. I was doing the sequel to that. And when I decided to try to put a rough draft together, I wanted him to read it just to see what his thoughts were, because I already knew what his thoughts were about the first book. He didn't like it. He didn't like it because in his image, his mind, he had this thing that he have to be seen a certain way because of his position that he called himself a man of God, and his position of wanting to be heavily involved in the church and stuff like that. Well, the entertainment of eroticism is completely far-fetched from any religious type of situation. It's basically has a lot of sexual scenes in it and stuff like that. Well, he didn't like it. So with the sequel, I was actually trying to make it make sense on the main character, which her name was Tanya, and her best friend, which her name was Ivy. And I was trying to make it to where Ivy turned her life around, and she was basically the opposite of what she was in the first book, trying to do better than what she did the first time in the first book. And then Tanya flipped the script, and she became very revengeful, wanting to get revenge on Ivy for how she slept with her husband and stuff like that. Well, it was supposed to be something similar in that line. I didn't get the emotional support that I wanted to get from him so he can understand about repentance and forgiveness. That's what the second book was going to be based on how people can change. And all it takes for people to recognize how they messed up and start changing their behavior. Well, of course, I think I struck a nerve with some of the stuff that I wrote in there, because I did have some relatable issues with what was going on in our marriage at the time in that book. And I think he saw himself and he didn't like some of the stuff that I wrote. Anyways, that was not an emotional support for me. It really kind of made me put the book down and not finish. So to this day, the second part of the book has not been completed. I'm still thinking about completing the second part of the book, because I'm not going to let someone stop me from doing something that I truly enjoy doing. I love creating. I love to write. I enjoy these things because that's my therapy. It also takes me out of my own true life situations of things that is happening with me. It also helped me to have control over the narrative of the way I would like things to actually go. And that's just the way it was with that particular book. So most likely I will probably go ahead and finish it up. I just have to find the time to actually do it. I just haven't gotten the time yet, especially with the new business and all. Anyways, also with emotional support, it also means that whoever you are getting your support from, your partner should be able to create a safe space for you to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is so important in any relationship you have, whether it's your boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, best friend. If you call yourself close, like y'all are close with each other, you should be able to be vulnerable with that person, and that person should be able to be vulnerable with you. So let's go on. Number 5, healthy boundaries. Let's talk about that. I have spoken about boundaries in season 6 when I was talking about the narcissistic and all that. It is so important to have boundaries, but it's important to have healthy boundaries. Both partners respect each other's personal space. Yes, you got to have personal space. So my husband, my current husband now, he has a thing that he goes to the gym pretty much almost every single day. Yes. And then there's times when I would just go to the gym and show up. I'm not going there to spy on him and nothing like that. Most of the time he's working. So he has a lot of people that he trained. And sometimes I just want to go and just support him, and just sometimes I take videos of him training individuals so we can use some of the footage for his advertisement or something like that. But I've noticed that that's his therapy. That's what he used to let off some steam sometimes if he's in there by himself doing his own thing. So I have to respect that I can't be with him every time he goes to the gym. So that's his personal space. He also know that I need my personal space. So if I tell him, hey, I got some things I got to get done, I need quiet time, he'll say, okay, well, I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to go shopping, because he likes to shop just like I like to shop. So his favorite store, you believe it or not, is Ross. And my favorite store is Burlington. I just like a bunch of gadgets. That's what I am. I love gadgets. Things that just don't make sense, but I can put it to use. That's what I like. I always come up with something that you wouldn't just see an everyday person having. And him, on the other hand, he loves shoes. So he's always trying to see what kind of shoes they have. And he likes sweatpants and stuff like that. So he's always trying to go and get some sweat clothes and sweaters and stuff like that. Because he always say, I got to stay insulated because that's what keeps my body warm. That kind of stuff. And then, of course, with healthy boundaries, you also have to respect each other's interests. Because everyone has a different interest, right? You have yours, they have theirs. And you have to respect relationships outside of yours. So, what I mean by that, for instance, I know my mother, she likes having me around, and she needs my attention sometimes. Well, that's a relationship outside of my marriage. So I need to go and spend some time with her, do some things with her, and stuff like that. For instance, for my birthday last year, I took my mother and my dad, as well as my son, to Hawaii. We went there for about 5 days, and I rented an Airbnb, and it was just us. Yes, I wanted my husband to come, but he said to me, I think this is something that you need just with your family, with your mom and dad. Create that memory, because you and I, we got married there. We'd been there before your birthday a couple of years before that. And of course, you've been there with your mom only once. Now you're there with your mom and your dad. And then you've been there with your mom for the wedding. Because yes, I've been to Hawaii, I guess, 4 or 5 times or whatever. That's one of my favorite places to go. And also, when I thought about it, I said, yeah, you're right. I should make this a family thing between me and my parents. And I'm going to bring my son so he can be with his grandparents. And we're just going to make a good thing out of it. At least I'll try to make a good thing out of it. That's a whole story within itself. I'll talk about that in another podcast some other time. But that is definitely a whole story within itself. When I do talk about it in podcast, it'll probably be about something dealing with parents, okay? Anyways, so just know that you are going to have relationships outside of your partner. So that means that you have to respect your partner's other relationship that they have. I don't understand this thing about husband can have female friends and the wife can have male friends. At first, I was like that. I was. In my past relationships, when I got into a relationship with somebody, I used to drop all my male friends. Like, I wouldn't talk to them. I wouldn't call them on the phone to have conversations. I wouldn't really see them anymore until I was completely out of that relationship that I was in. I come to find out that that is not healthy. That's actually unhealthy. And my dad was the one to shine the light on me on that. And you would be surprised that a man would say something to this defense to his own daughter, but he did. So I have this male friend, and we had been friends for 4 years at this particular. Was it 4? No, it was actually longer than that. Actually, it was 9 years at this particular time. And this is before I made it real serious with my ex-husband. And, well, I'm going to say my deceased husband instead of saying ex-husband, because I do have another husband before him. So let's just say deceased husband. So This is before I made it serious with my deceased husband. So what ended up happening in the situation was that I really don't even want to go into the story, but I will give you a snippet of it. It was Father's Day, and my friend David, he came over to the house. He wanted me to take a picture of him and his son so he can have it. And when he came over, he does what he always do. He just knocks on the door, walk in. Okay? I don't have a problem with that because I was living by myself at the time and I wanted someone to make sure I'm safe, you know? And David and I have been good with each other for 9 years. Really, really good. And I mean, when I needed help, he showed up. He was that guy. Well, there was no romantic situation with us. We didn't do all that because I never really found him to be sexually attractive. He was not that guy, okay? So I realized, and plus on top of that, he was a whore. I'm not gonna play around, and he knows it. He said it to me one time that, you know the reason why I never pursued you? And I said, why? He said, because you a good girl. You don't deserve the things that I do to these women. And I said, what do you mean? He said, because I know you are a wifey type. You are the wife. If I ever decide to get married, you'd be the one that I would try to marry. But I'm not going to get married, so I am out here having the best time of my life, and I'm going to be with these different women and do what I want to do with them, and they understand, and it is what it is. So I said to him, first off, thank you for recognizing that. Second off, you and I'm not really sexually attracted to you like that. No way. So I don't know if that's going to be, we don't have no chemistry like that. No sexual chemistry. We have friendship chemistry. Pretty much like brother-sister chemistry, really. So, make a long story short, my deceased husband happened to be there the day that he came over and walked in the house to ask me to take pictures of him and his son. He got livid. My deceased husband got livid. I mean, he was furious, pissed, and like, who is this guy walking in the door? This is how you do it. This is the first time that my deceased husband had been to my home. And he was like, this is how you do it. You got people, random dudes just walking all up in your house. And I'll say, he's not a random dude. And no, I don't have random dudes walking up in my house. He's a friend. And yes, he can come to my house whenever he wants to. I don't have guys in my house. That's one thing. So he's really the only guy that shows up other than my relatives. So my dad told me, this is what my dad said. He said, I'm going to tell you this. You will go through boyfriends, but you would never go through many friends that are really true friends. So to go through this, don't let your friends go. And I said, okay, Dad, you're right. So that's what I did. I made sure not to let them go. And I said, I'm going to go ahead and hold on to this one. And then I started holding on to the ones that I always had. And to this day, it's still the same. So I don't believe in that you shouldn't have opposite sex friends. If it's more than a friendship, then no, you should not have them around. But if it's just a friendship, let it be just a friendship. Nothing is wrong with that. Okay, now do my husband have female friends? Yes, he do. And he have introduced me to them, and they all understand that I'm not a jealous type. That's one reason why I'm okay with it. I'm not the jealous type. You just have to prove to me that you're untrustworthy. Once I see that, then I deal with you accordingly at that time. I am the type of person that I extend grace to you. I will give you grace. That's what I'm trying to say. Until you show me I shouldn't be trusting you, then I will change up on you in a heartbeat. So let's go ahead. Number 6 is conflict resolution. So conflict resolution. A lot of people don't know how to do this. I think that people need to take a class on this. Matter of fact, I have taught a class on conflict resolution. You can actually go on my website, and not only that, I have put it in the podcast. So if you go to season 6, you will be able to go to the podcast about learning how to solve your problems in a relationship with communication and stuff like that when you have a problem. Anyway, so conflict resolution, disagreements are handled calmly and respectfully, focusing on solutions rather than blame and criticism. Wow. I actually, like I said, I did a whole class on this, a whole podcast on this, because this is a thing that us humans don't really take in consideration. You have to know how to solve problems without blaming a person for the things that happen. You have to be able to talk about what went wrong, where the problem really occurred, and what could be done about the problem. Stay focused on the problem. Once you have gotten to a point where you can understand where the problem is, why things are wrong in that situation, then you can start talking about what can we do to change this? What can we do to make things better? And I want to elaborate more on that in another podcast again, but for right now, let's continue to keep going. So, number 7, shared goals and values. Now, what a relationship? What's a relationship without having anything in common? Okay, so shared goals and values, right? You align on important life values and goals, supporting each other's personal growth as well as future plans. Because if you can't look forward to the future to grow or to gain anything that you want to accomplish with each other, then you really don't have a relationship. Somebody's using somebody, okay? And so you really have to make sure that your goals and your values are shared together where y'all can grow as one together. So those are the 7 signs of a healthy relationship. I want to talk about the 7 signs of an unhealthy relationship. And it's pretty much the opposite of that, but it also goes on to a little bit more deeper, a lot deeper, matter of fact. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Number 1, the 7 signs of an unhealthy relationship. So number 1 is lack of communication. You know what? I have dealt with this so many times in previous relationships, and I'm pretty sure you probably have too. But what I do understand is that you have to start off communicating from the very beginning of your relationship. So that way, when you have a problem or a conflict, you can still talk as if you did before the conflict occurred. So it's very important to communicate, okay? So important communication are avoided. All right. This is how you know that your communication is not good, is when you are avoiding the most important communication that you're supposed to have. You're trying to not have it. So either you or your partner is demonstrating some type of lack of interest in wanting to talk about whatever it is that you need to discuss. All right. And you're dismissive of it. And you also leading the other person to be misunderstood, and it can be either or, unresolved issues. So y'all have not resolved any issues at all. So that is poor and lack of communication. That's a sign that you're in a unhealthy relationship. Number 2, disrespect and criticism. I've noticed that a lot of people go to this when they're upset. And this is a lack of the person's character if they're quick to criticize and quick to disrespect. So, criticizing and being skeptical of any situation that's going on in your relationship or your marriage or whatever it is that you have going on, and belittling the person is a low self-esteem on the person's part who's actually doing it. So let's say, for instance, your partner called you a bad name. Well, it's a low self-esteem on your partner, not you. So you know you ain't what they calling you. Well, at least you should know that. they're calling you that because that's what they feel to themselves inside of who they are. So that is another sign that you are in a bad relationship, that you are in an unhealthy relationship, I would say. And somebody needs to go to therapy. And usually it's going to be that person who's calling you the name, because what made them think it was comfortable, they was comfortable enough to be able to do that to you, right? Number three is control and manipulation. This is where the narcissistic situation begins, okay? So, narcissistic, one partner tries to control the other's actions, decisions, and or relationship through guilt, threat, or manipulation. If you're in a relationship like this, you are not in a healthy relationship, and you need to be figuring out a way out. You need to figure your exit strategy. It's not going to get better from here. It's going to get worse. That person is not with you because they love you. They're with you because they see you as something they can use from you somewhere in your life, or what you have. They can use it, and they want to use it, and they don't want no one else to get it or take it from them, because they either feel like, hey, I can use this person for a place to stay, I can use it for their car, I can use it for money, I can use them for sex, I can use them for just to say for me not to be alone, but I'm going to use them even though I don't really want to be with them. So they try to control you and manipulate you. Here's number 4. Number 4 is jealousy and trust issues, okay? So if you are in a relationship with someone, or even yourself, if you have jealousy and trust issues, you don't need to be in a relationship. First off, you need to find out why you have this problem in the first place. You need to seek some help, get some therapy in your life. Find out why you are the jealous type. What is making you that way? Find out what is causing you to have trust issues. What happened in your past that got you this way? It's time for you to do some root work. What I'm trying to say is root work. That means you need to get to the root of it and work on it, all right? So, excessive jealousy and accusing or snooping it indicates a lack of trust, as well as it creates insecurity in the relationship. That is something that a lot of people deal with. I have heard guys say they've been with a woman who has insecure problems. Well, it goes both ways. I've been with a guy who had insecure problem. Of course, the relationship didn't work out, because I say I have been with. That means I'm no longer with them. It doesn't work out. I'm going to tell you, it will not work. That is something that you can't save that person. That person have to want to do the work for themselves. That's the only way it can work, because it's something that is within that person that only that person can bring out. That means somebody gonna have to help this person to see it. You being with them in a relationship, they don't want to see it from you. They don't want you to see it, because the whole thing is that they're trying to hide it from you. So why would they bring it out with you? Because you're the one they're hiding it from, all right? So then that's number 5. So number 5 is neglect or emotional withdrawal. Okay, when a person is neglecting you, or they emotionally withdrawn from you, that means that you are in an unhealthy relationship, okay? One or both partners become emotional distant, as well as indifferent to each other. Dismissive, that means you don't want to talk or be very open, or even open period, to the person you're with. You're trying to just not let them in. You don't want to let them in. If you in a relationship that your partner, your mate, your boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, don't want to let you in, my advice to you is to step back. Pull yourself out of that situation enough to let them breathe and just watch them. Pay attention to their actions. They might not say anything, but their actions is always key. It tells you what they really got going on, okay? So pull yourself back. Don't be all emotional about your situation. Just leave your emotions out of it and just watch them. Listen to them talk. Pay attention to what they do and what they don't do, what they say and what they don't say. There's things that people don't say that they actually are saying. They just didn't say it out loud, but their action shows what they really are saying. So pay attention to that. Then you can really see what's going on with that person. They might be depressed. And might not have anything to do with you at all. Or it might do have something to do with you, and you don't know how to talk to them because they're not letting you in. So the best thing to do is to pull yourself out of the situation. And if they need help, then they're going to have to get the help, okay? But you're not their savior. Remember that. You're not their savior. You cannot save them. Stop trying to be. You still got to work on yourself. You got a whole lot to do for yourself. It's hard enough to take care of yourself and control yourself than try to control someone else, okay? Number 6 is unresolved conflict. So, let's say you have an argument and it got very heated, very aggressive, and no one really resolved what was really the problem. You talked about everything other than the problem. Everything that you mad about that has absolutely nothing to do with what really is going on. It could be something that's been going on for months, years, or something that didn't have anything to do with you in the first place, but yet they're taking it out on you. That is a good sign that you're in an unhealthy relationship, because whenever you have an argument or a disagreement, you should always be able to have conflict resolution, okay? If you don't have that, you are destined to be in an unhealthy relationship. So anything that's never fully resolved is always there. Just because you sweep dirt under the rug doesn't mean the dirt isn't still there. It just means it's covered up. And all it takes for someone to come along and pull the rug up and the dirt is revealed. That's the same thing with unresolved conflict. You have to deal with the conflict at hand. You have to talk about it. You have to get deep about what it is that is really the problem. Not everything around the problem, but the problem itself. That's the only way you can resolve it, okay? Sometimes it's painful. It ain't always going to feel great. I'm going to tell you that now. Sometimes it feels hard to discuss something that you really have been trying to avoid. But when it's over with and you got it off your chest, y'all done talked about it, you do feel better. It's almost like that weight that was on your shoulder has been taken off. Now you can stand up straight and you can walk straight, okay? And you can walk with your head held high, knowing that you got it out and in the open. Now let's talk about number 7. So, the 7th sign is that you're in an unhealthy relationship is isolation from friends and family. If you are dealing with a person who don't want you to be with your loved ones, that is a big problem. That's still a narcissistic situation, but it still don't have to be narcissistic. It can just be a person who is stingy, greedy, and selfish, all right? So, a partner discourages you, or you discouraging your partner by preventing them to contact their loved ones or limiting them from support from their loved ones, that's a problem, okay? Or you don't want your partner to be independent. You need them to depend on you for everything, all right? That is a sign that you're in a unhealthy relationship, or vice versa. Your partner wants you to depend on them for everything. So I hope this really helped you guys. This is going to be what you're going to be getting from me for the year. I'm going to be sharing different types of topics on relationships and how to recognize signs that you are in whatever it is you got going on in your life, and some insight on how to help you resolve some issues, as well as sometimes there's going to be times when some issues are unfixable. You're just going to have to separate from the situation. It's not good, but it is what it is, especially if your life is in danger or your health. And that's the same thing with your life, okay? You having issues in that kind of manner, sometimes it's just best to say, I'm going to cut my ties with this one, and I'm going to stick with myself until I heal from the situation. Now, I do have podcasts on how to heal from broken relationships before you get into a new relationship. Go back and check out season 6. Season 6 is all about learning how to self-heal, learning how to grow, learning how to recognize signs of narcissistic individuals, and how to get out of a relationship that is toxic safely without you or your loved ones getting hurt in the process. So I am Layla Carroll, and I am signing out. See you next time. Are you feeling overwhelmed and exhausted by stress? Introducing Stress Management with Imaging Coaching, your ticket to a calmer, more balanced life. In this journey you will be taking with us here at Imaging Coaching, we'll equip you with powerful techniques and tools you can use to conquer stress, control, and transform your life. From deep breathing exercises to mindfulness practices, you'll discover the tools to relax your mind and body. Come join us on this transformative path and unlock a world of inner peace and resilience. Don't let stress hold you back any longer. Take charge of your well-being today with Imaging Coaching, your stress management team. Discover clarity. Defeat stress through Imaging Coaching at imagingcoaching.com, at imagingcoaching.com, at imagingcoaching.com, at imagingcoaching.com.